Welcome to the VC. I am VampireToy, joined by my co-host,
Chill.
and we're also joined by a good friend, WinkieSprinkles.
Hello.
And yeah, I'm very excited. This is our very first podcast episode. So welcome in, Winkie. Chill, thank you for joining me. I'm very excited about this. Hope you guys are as well.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. It feels nice to be invited to things.
Wow.
Yeah, being included is awesome. All right, so we here on the VC like to talk about a couple things, namely gaming and a bit of roleplay, a little RP in here as well. And there's been some things happening. There's been some things brewing over the last week.
Yeah, so with like gaming and stuff like that, first of all, Schedule 1. Can we just talk about how addictive that game is, bro?
Yeah, no kidding. It's hella addictive.
Yeah, Winkie, your take on the Schedule of Ones.
So, Schedule 1, it's like... It's normally a game I don't think I would play, like, especially on my own. Just because I would look at it and be like, I don't really know if I want to do another indie, like, simulator. But it feels very, very different than most others. And I think it's just... I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of attention to like the small details, like having the different strains that have different effects and stuff like that. That, you know, it keeps you going.
Yeah.
The different effects, I think, is like one really unique thing that separates it from, like, for example, people are complaining that it's like, oh, it's just a ripoff of Drug Dealer Simulator and shit like that. But it has, like, the same components because it's fucking drug dealing sim, but it's its own thing, you know? It's a completely different art style. It is, like I said, unique side effects. There is so much more that keeps me at Schedule 1 that, you know, drug dealer sim has nothing to do with, you know?
Yeah, the art style too. You mentioned that's one thing that's really, like, it's kind of like endearing about it. It's kind of got some personality that I don't want to say it's like Rick and Morty, but it's like soft Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's a goofy vibe, and I like it. It's the way that it is being all goofy and silly and stuff. It makes it more fun. And
it reminds me of like South Park too.
Yeah, like it takes this very serious topic and kind of makes it a little goofy, which I kind of like. I like that it just doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever. We've had so many laughs from this game, even amongst the three of us. It's been such a good time. It's funny, actually, you mentioned the Drug Dealer Simulator, Chill. Did you want to talk about that drama that was brewing?
Yes. So apparently there was like rumors of Drug Dealer Sim putting out like a lawsuit against Schedule 1.
Right. Winkie, I don't know. Did you hear about this? The lawsuit rumors?
I heard something from somebody, but I don't know the details.
So people were saying that, like, oh, Drug Dealer Sim is, you know, suing Schedule 1 because it's like, you know, it's too close. It's too close to home. Like, they just copy and pasted what we did. And so Drug Dealer Sim was getting, like, review bombed.
On Steam,
on Steam. Like, absolutely. If you go to their Steam page, I don't know if it's still there.
It might still be there even. I'll double check.
Yeah, I can go right there.
But yeah, they were just getting review bombed, and, you know, even I was guilty of this the other day. I was like, that does not look good on them to, you know, put down another competitor. It looks really petty, you know, just all this stuff. Because I was like, why would you do this? This looks so bad for you and your brand.
Yeah. So there's still a bunch of negative reviews. Drug Dealer Simulator published movie games essay has launched an IP infringement investigation against Schedule 1. They're quite likely planning to illegally strong-arm TVGS, which is the people who make Schedule 1.
The people, by the way.
The one person.
The one people.
Team now, but it's basically was originally just made by one dude.
Yeah, just one person did that. But yeah,
And yeah, so they're just getting review bombed because of this.
Yeah.
Turns out, and I saw this on where you get all the good facts, Reddit. There is no lawsuit against Schedule 1 as negative Steam reviews pile up. Drug dealer simulator publisher makes a public plea for peace.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was telling Chill when we came across this, I looked at him and I was like, this could be one of two things. One, someone just decided to be a little asshole and start an internet rumor, right? And run with it. The other thing is maybe in their own circles, they were talking about potentially opening a lawsuit against this, against Schedule 1. And then it got out of control, which I kind of feel like is what happened. I feel like they were kind of like, I wonder if this is, legal. Can we take them to court?
They maybe even asked lawyers.
They were probably talking to lawyers. Like, is this something we can pursue? Maybe some steps were done. Maybe some words were said. Things were, just taken and run with. You know what I mean? And they were not ready for that kind of pushback.
Yep.
So I think, regardless, they got their answer.
Yeah.
That they probably shouldn't do anything in regards to that. Otherwise, it would PR death apparently.
Oh yeah, I feel like I hear about this happening all the time in the industry though, where someone will say that someone was going to do or say something, and immediately the information is acted upon by the community or whatever. And it either turns out to be an extreme exaggeration or not true at all, and everybody got upset for no reason.
Yeah.
But their quote unquote plea, and by the way, this is it seems like this is a Reddit post from them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says, "Dear gamers, we'd like to address your Schedule 1/drug dealer simulator publication and share some facts regarding the situation. 1. There is no lawsuit. 2. It is not our intention to prevent TVGS from selling or developing their game. 3. There is an investigation into the nature of similarities between the games since a preliminary legal analysis indicated there might have been an infringement." So that's probably what, people heard about.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're going to do it.
They're suing them.
It's just like normal processes that every company goes through when another, like a competing product,
a similar game comes out.
Yeah, they have to.
They just got to... They make sure it doesn't that there's nothing for them to act upon. And usually it goes nowhere. Yeah.
The analysis and investigation were necessary in the light of repeating opinions that the games are very similar. By not investigating it, Movie Games, being a publicly traded company, could face severe consequences for negligence. So it's like we had to do this for the stockholders.
Yep.
And bro, I ain't gonna lie, there are a lot of similarities with the two games, but it's still completely different.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the nature of the type of game. Racing games are all about racing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
They're not gonna
be about drug dealing.
Exactly. They're not gonna sue each other for, you're a racing game like mine. Unless it's very, very similar to the point where, the power ups are all the same, or the courses, are the same, but maybe they're just reskinned to look different. You know what I mean? There can be arguments for plagiarism. So that's why, for something like this, I am interested to see if anything comes up. But I do agree with you. You can't sue based on, it's a drug dealing simulator.
Go ahead.
No, that was the end of my point. Please.
I was just gonna say the only thing that I'm like, all right, that is pretty weirdly similar is the curfew thing. So in Drug Dealer Sim, you get more XP and more money when they have a weird police curfew thing.
Yeah.
I would argue though that the curfew system though isn't necessarily specific to this style of game. Like games like the one that comes to mind is Stardew Valley.
Sure.
It's not necessarily a curfew, but at a certain you have a cutoff to where you're penalized or the game doesn't progress or whatever. So it's just building on that concept. It's not specific to Drug Dealer Simulator.
Exactly. It's not like
But
it's unique
was-
to Drug Dealer
but-
Sim.
It was pretty spot on with the fact that like they have a weird police curfew and the fact that like I don't know, man. It like that is the one thing where I'm like that is weirdly similar. But
That is,
other than
yeah.
that,
But
like
it's
yeah.
I don't know how
I feel like
much.
it's like an abstract enough concept. That,
Yeah, I don't know how much legality they would have on that. That's
I
that's
don't
what
think they
I'm
do.
finding. That's why I'm finding
Yeah.
this so interesting. If they decide to pursue this, is because I do think they might have a case for something like that, because a lot of the components are very similar across both games based on what I have seen. Now, to be completely honest with you both, I've never played Drug Dealer Simulator. I've only
I played
played
too much
Schedule
of
One.
that game.
Okay,
I
Chill has
that's
the
why-
experience between me and him. I don't know about you, Winky.
Yeah,
I've watched a lot of people play it. I haven't
Okay.
played it myself though.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are a lot of differences though. I'd say like the only real, and that's why I brought up the curfew thing, is that is the one thing that I'm like, okay, that is it
Very
feels
similar.
Like it's directly
Yeah.
ripped from that. But like Winky said, that is not a unheard of concept where it's like, oh, that there's a. So I mean, it's even in like games like what called Dying Light. Is that the one? Where it's like once
The zombie game.
the zombie game. So like once it gets dark,
Oh.
the night creatures come out and but
Yes.
they're worth like a grip of XP. you
Yeah,
know?
it's like,
So it's like
yeah, it's worth more to kill them, but they're also probably more dangerous as well.
correct.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not an unheard of concept like y'all are saying, but it just
In
it
this
feels
context, it feels bad.
it just feels very exactly the same as as Drug Dealer Sim, but they have so much more going for them in my opinion than Drug Dealer Sim ever had.
Yeah.
Like I don't need like fucking high fidelity drug dealing sim. I just want a goofy fucking experience that's fun. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what
Yeah.
Schedule One is.
And we
And I
can do
feel
it
like
with
the,
friends too. So
Yeah.
Exactly, and I feel like the style, the lower poly like build, that's very like when it's done good like this, it feels good. Like it's fun to
Exactly.
look at and play around with. It feels cartoonish.
Yes, 100%. It feels more fun, man.
yeah.
Like the fact that you have like weird mixes to make like for example, like you have to figure out that donuts when you put like two in a mix, it suddenly becomes explosive. You know what I'm saying? Like weird shit. It's fucking cool, man. And so that's what I'm saying is like you experiment and unlock these things. And Drug Dealer Sim had none of that shit. Like it literally
Yeah.
was just like put the painkiller in it to make it more addictive.
It's
Like
the
that.
realistic version, whereas
It's 100%
Schedule One
that, yeah.
is the goofy, cartoony version, which,
I've heard people
it's like
talk
the
about
party
it.
game, I guess, for you and your friends to play the Drug Dealer Simulator, but party game style, maybe? I don't know how to describe it.
I've heard of it basically compared to like Stardew Valley.
Yes, Stardew
in a
Valley,
way.
Yeah.
but with drugs.
Schedule Valley. It's-
Schedule,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
because like it basically is if Drug Dealer Sim and Stardew Valley became one game.
Right.
Because
Well,
it's
yeah.
vibey and it's just so
Yeah.
fucking fun, man. It's addictive.
Well, I've also modded Stardew Valley with drug mods before.
Oh
Hell
gosh.
yeah, dog. Hey, I gotta get me on them mods then. Dog.
Well-
I've done Stardew and I've done Minecraft with drug mods.
Ooh, oh yeah, I remember the Minecraft RP thing that you had going on.
Well,
That was good. Yeah.
it'll be very interesting to see how this story progresses. We'll probably hear more about it in the future. I don't think this one will die out so easily. I think we'll most likely hear about it again soon.
Yeah, schedule one. It's being worked on pretty consistently. So I have a feeling this is one of those. You know how there's games that will quickly rotate out of the cycle. This one I don't think is going to do that.
Yeah.
No, it's sticking around for a bit, especially
I
because the
agree.
dev is so like active. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, he's active, he's consistent, like you said, and he's even talked about streaming some of the dev stuff, which I think is really cool.
That is
Great
cool.
idea.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Alright.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I am actually very excited to see if they do decide to go through with this lawsuit. If
I think it's
not well,
the way it
not that there
finishes in
is
the
a lawsuit,
article-
but you know, if anything comes of their investigation, I should say.
Yeah, the way it was like finished in the article is basically being like, we had to do an investigation. We don't plan on suing them, but we had to do it to like please the shareholders. kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And they specifically say that the above is handled by Movie Games, the publisher, not Byte Runners, the developer of Drug Dealer Simulator. Basically being like, please,
Yeah.
please stop review bombing. All right. Speaking of freaking bombs, want to talk about a PR minefield that Nintendo stepped on? Because that shit is that shit's wild. Apparently, one of the execs for like Nintendo, basically just said, "Hey, if you can't afford a Switch 2, just buy a Switch." Like,
Oh,
Old Doug.
yes. Yeah.
Mr. Bowser.
yeah, no, he literally said like, "L poor, just buy the first console if you're that poor."
But he said it with that sweet corporate, you know, that little corporate twang.
Let them eat
that
cake
PR talk.
kind of thing,
Mhm.
yeah. But also, listeners, just a little bit of context, because I don't know where you're at. This comes on the back of Nintendo announcing their Switch 2 prices.
Yes.
Which were absolutely ridiculed across the entire internet. Because it's just the prices that they're trying to justify. The games themselves are like $80, they're saying.
80 digital, 90 physical.
Yeah, they just talked about Breath of the Wild is going to be 90. Like, they just confirmed that.
Yeah.
How much
And
did
then
they say?
450 for the console.
Yeah, I was about to say.
450, dog.
So, apparently, when they made that announcement, because you know how like, they do the big showcase announcement,
Yeah,
right, in front of a live audience, and they have the video and everything, and then I think they announced the price in that video, right?
It was the direct, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and
they
like
always
everyone
do directs now.
Yeah.
For like their announcements for the big projects. And then it was pretty much immediately in the chat. Everyone's like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah, everybody. But apparently, just everyone is so quiet. You know, usually when a console is released, like, and people were excited. People were super excited, applauding and everything. And then once the price comes up, you can hear a mouse fart in there, man. It's like the air just gets sucked right out of the room.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure people were pretty taken aback by that shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man. What's up with you?
That's the least of that's the least of the worries now. The problem now is they don't even know when they're going to be able to put the console in the country.
Oh,
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
Because
about
of
like with all the tariffs and
tariffs,
shit going
yeah.
on. They were like talking about like the release in China is like postponed indefinitely, and they were talking about like 146% tariffs and shit like that, or taxes.
Yeah, so it's already so expensive, and that's before the tariffs get applied to that price.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't even know what that's going to look like once it hits the market. That's just what they estimate right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Gaming is becoming, I've noticed this recently, over the last few years, gaming is starting to become more of a very expensive hobby. It's becoming an elitist hobby, it feels. Where if you can't afford to buy the newest consoles or keep your PC up to snuff with all the gear that you need to run it, you're not going to be able to be a gamer.
Well, I would say it's more like not necessarily that you can't be a gamer. It's the type of games that you're limited to play.
True.
But the thing is, my argument would be is that it doesn't really matter because most of these games that are so demanding that require this hardware to be like top of the line, unless it's like a console exclusive for like either Sony or Nintendo, usually the game's dog shit. Like it's a huge AAA, quadruple A title and it sucks.
Yeah.
But it looks good.
You're not wrong.
It's supposed to look good and it's buggy as hell.
Yeah. Well, and then here we go talking back to Schedule 1. Look at Schedule 1. The graphics look
exactly
like straight out of a 90s computer generated TV show, you know, like it's just a bunch of polygons, you know, like just thrown together.
You probably run it on a potato.
Yeah. Just probably get a little hamster and get the little wheel going, you know. But it's not fancy by any means. Like it's very basic. Have to look
good. They just have to be good.
Yeah. They just have to allow the player to have a fun time and allows the player to do whatever they want with it. That's why Repo is becoming so popular right now. Repo is such a great example of a successful multiplayer game because there is an objective to the game, but you're seeing clips coming out of people just doing random stuff in there. Like the other day, Chill and I saw a video of a group of friends. They were at the wizarding school, so they just started RPing like they were, you know, in class. You know, like I didn't bring my pencil or my quill or whatever, and they were just having fun with that, you know, until the monsters came to get them, and they were just having fun with that. But it just allowed the players to do more with it, and like that game is also another example of it's not beautiful graphics. Our characters are a bunch of Terrence and Phillip Canadian characters, Android, you know, like yeah. So it's just a perfect example of like it just needs to have heart and soul. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world.
And I don't know, man, going back to Nintendo as a whole, like the Switch was its selling point was how like reasonably priced it was. I remember that.
Yeah,
like
that's
originally,
a good point. Yeah, compared to
like,
hey.
No, it was pretty.
I think
for what it was back then too.
I think it is, but I do think Chill is right. It is more geared towards like the family and wanting to be more accessible to more households, whereas I feel like Sony and Microsoft try to gear their consoles more towards a particular type of audience of gamers specifically, where, like I said, whereas Nintendo is very like everybody should be a gamer. Like you can get grandma involved to play, you know, Mario Kart, you know, and we did in my household. Grandma got involved playing Mario Kart. But I feel like that's more what it is. And so this kind of feels like you said, Chill, like more of a shock. Like, oh my God, like there's just a huge price tag on this. Like I would expect this more from, like Microsoft or Sony than Nintendo.
Yeah. So just going back, just quick Google search, just because I was curious. Originally the Switch was $300, which was the cheapest alternative to like the PS4 or like the Xbox 360, because those rang in at like $400.
Right.
Which, I mean, it isn't a huge difference, but it was supposed to be like the, hey, we're reasonable. You know, we'll give you $100 off if you buy ours.
Yeah. It definitely was for accessibility for everyone to game, I think.
Yeah, and by no means was it cheap, but it was, you know, supposed to be the alternative to, you know, $400.
Yeah. It really makes me wonder if the high price tag that Nintendo is trying to push on the consumers is because you hear about all these other companies laying off or firing huge portions of their teams, but Nintendo tries very hard not to do that. Like, they've actively gone out of their way to avoid massive layoffs, to the point where they'll take pay cuts from their top members, CEO,
like executives,
yeah,
and shit like that,
executives and
yeah.
everything. They'll take
But
a
that's
bit
why
of
I
a
think
cut. So I
why it's so
feel,
frustrating to hear them say like, just buy a Switch 1.
yeah,
Well-
just that seems so, yeah, very much let them eat cake
Yeah.
vibes. Don't like
Yeah.
that.
What's up, Winky?
Nintendo, though, has been for a long time now regarded as extremely anti-consumer. Though that's
Yeah.
that's their
Mm-hmm.
they do not listen to consumer feedback. They hate consumer feedback. It's almost as if they hate their customers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an issue that they've had for forever now. And I mean that makes to why they would go ahead and just do this price push, because now's the time that they're not the only ones doing it. Other games have been coming out at the $70 price tag recently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or the $80 for
Oof.
an unfinished quote unquote AAA title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking brutal.
We have to stop this. We have to put our foot down and say, no more. This is theft.
It's gone too far.
It's too far.
It hit one of my favorite franchises, the Yakuza series. The most recent one was an $80 game.
Jesus.
I mean, it's a good game. It was finished. It was a complete work when it was released. Very few do that.
Yeah.
But still,
which kind of gets me a little nervous because, Chill, I see you you might have thrown this one in the ring, the Titanfall rumors.
Yeah.
Yeah. That worries me with the high price tags that we're seeing. Makes me really worried about this. But I'm also excited because while I've never played Titanfall, I've seen a lot of it, and it's such a cool concept.
Yeah, I had a friend that was obsessed with that game, and they got me to play it. I'm like, this is actually pretty sick, but it was a lot of it felt like a lot of hackers because it was just like a game that was left to its own devices, you know.
Yes, that's yeah.
I played a ton of Titanfall 2, so there's a history to it.
Okay,
so it did become basically abandoned by the developers, so it was left to the hackers for many years, and then eventually it just got shut down by a group that was upset that the game had been basically
abandoned,
pushed aside because of Apex Legends.
Ooh.
Yeah,
which is based in the same universe, and it became EA's bread and butter over Titanfall. So as a protest wanting Titanfall 3, some hacker group took over the servers, basically shut it down. It was unplayable. If you had Titanfall 2, it was no reason to download it. You couldn't play the game unless it was just like single player, I think. And then randomly one day EA went in what's the Respawn went in, cleaned it up, got the servers working, and no hackers were in the game, and people just started playing multiplayer again.
Yeah, no, I heard about something going on with that where it was just like it got shut down and brought back up, and yeah.
That's really unfortunate about the Titanfall 2 servers being hacked. I had heard about that, and it kind of bummed me out because I think I have the game, and I'd been wanting to try it out, and then I think I was looking at games to play with a friend, and I was like, oh, well, what about this game? And they're like, oh, you can't play that game anymore. I was like, oh, okay. So now hearing that from you, Winky, that explains a lot. So yeah.
Well, the great thing is you can play it now. I did play it a little while when it first came back, and I had fun with it. But there are people that no life did even when it was offline on like single player that just destroy everyone in every match.
Yeah. So people just got too good, basically, which is like the story
Right.
of every fucking game. I
Of
swear to
Every
course.
God.
fucking game.
Of
Bro,
course.
Hunt Showdown is a great example of
Yes.
that.
Yep.
Because I
DVD is
swear
the
to
same
God,
thing.
yeah. But real quick, I just want to touch on one more thing because we were talking about the prices of
Yes.
games. You're talking about like $90 for Breath of the Wild and shit like that, and they can't do this to us. They can't. They got. They can't. They have to be stopped.
They will, and you will enjoy it.
Yeah, true. But apparently the PlayStation CEO Sean Layden, basically his answer for all this was like, "Hey, we should just put a $5 price increase per generation, and that would have made it more palatable." Which I
That
feel
guy.
like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, man.
He's the former CEO, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he was always full of stupid ideas like that. He's such a dick.
Yeah, no, it just seems that all. I get I get that things cost more. I get that technology advances and changes and shit like that, and things are gonna cost more. But to go from like $60 games to $90 games, it's just it's out of control, man.
Yeah,
Like
it
that's
really
fucking
is.
crazy.
You're right. Things do cost more, but I don't. Well, I don't know if I believe that when the companies are posting record breaking profits every single year, year over year, laying off their workforce and then releasing slop. I don't really think that. I don't think that value is worth the price increases that they put out.
It's just too much. Like it's just too much of a jump. Like like if you are going to increase the games, go for like 5 or 10. And like he said, if they did it over time, it might have been more palatable. But it's like they didn't, dog. So
Yeah.
you can't just fucking jump to like $20 to $30.
They didn't do it, and then they also, on top of that, are releasing inferior products.
Yes.
So it's like a double slap.
It's just becoming a money grab for them, and they're just wanting to make as much money as they can with as little as they can, which is pretty much the mentality right now of many industries. So the gaming industry is not immune to this, unfortunately, but thankfully we have what we gamers love called the indie category.
Yeah, and not only that, but I once again on Reddit I saw people theorizing that like PC gaming is kind of just a way to go now because I mean you have a set system that can play a myriad of fucking games, whether they're Xbox originals or PlayStation. It eventually goes to PC, and there's sales all the time, so it's just like they're like pushing people away from the consoles to PCs with all this inflation, price increase,
and you already have to pay in addition to even play online on consoles, which is crazy.
Yeah,
because it's like
subscriptions. Dog,
I can't believe that this is still a thing that's being allowed to continue. That consoles are just allowed to do this.
Yeah,
that we're being forced to pay the console provider the ability to connect to my internet in order to play on their servers. That I have to pay them to play on their servers, their online servers. Where on my computer, if that were the thing, people would lose their minds. I mean, it used to be a thing. Like EverQuest and World of Warcraft, you paid a monthly subscription to play on their servers. But then that got phased out because suddenly there was just more MMOs out there who were
Warcraft
just like...
definitely still makes you pay.
Well, yeah, but a lot of these big name MMOs started to phase out of the monthly subscription payment ideas because there were these other competitors coming into the market who didn't have that. They didn't care. And again, it came from the indie movement, really, of other games coming in, other indie companies wanting a chance to throw their hat in the ring. But you know, now we're in this, I guess, renaissance in a way of games being put out on computers. Like, what's the point? I just don't understand the console mentality. And I get like consoles as a whole are a cheaper one-time purchase than a PC. A PC is going to be way more, but over time you're paying more for the console because you have to pay them every month to play their games, to play any games.
Fees, the fucking $90 games now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that same Sony's former CEO also was quoted this week saying that the console wars are dead. That is a dead concept.
I heard about that too. Yeah.
Sony, fucking PlayStation, they're putting their games on Steam.
Yeah.
Xbox is having an Xbox and having a PC that with Game Pass is basically the same thing. So yeah, I think especially Microsoft is going to start phasing out of the Xbox. I think it's just going to start. PCs are going to be basically what everyone has, and I think if anything, these console makers like Sony and like Microsoft, they're basically just going to start making their consoles more and more like computers, and they already have. I mean, the Xbox One had the tile system that basically looked like Windows 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
they pretty much are mini computers.
Yeah, I mean, it basically is just like a gaming PC that only is capable of gaming. You know, it's just like a low-end gaming PC.
Yeah.
So we're there. Like we're near the end of the console wars, with maybe the exception of Nintendo. Nintendo's holding out, but they're very different. You know, they're from a different market.
Yeah. So, and I guess saying low end is wrong. It's like mid-grade gaming PC because they're still capable of playing games pretty well. Like the PS5, I know it's like kind of crazy with processing power and shit like that.
Yeah. In order to make these consoles more powerful, they're basically just using the same parts as modern computers. So it may as well just be a computer.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. With that, I think that wraps up our gaming stuff, gaming news and all that. Now to move on to RP news. First of all, huge news. Lobo Esquire is no longer an animal control officer.
Over on Onyx.
About damn time they got that slacker out of there.
God damn it. I had felonies for 2 years.
I've been paying taxes and that motherfucker's just been collecting a check. They ain't caught a goddamn thing.
Yeah. No, dude. Okay. I got caught in a purge, it looks like, because it looks like a couple people got, taken out, like fired. But it was super funny because I randomly ran into, like, when we showed up on Onyx for the reunion or whatever, because Fish was at the Up and Atom, my fucking boss for animal control showed up too. And she was like, "Oh, hey, Lobo." So I was just like, "Hey, what's good?"
What's up?
Yeah. And meanwhile, like getting knives from Fish to give to Buffy to stab people. Oh man, I miss Fish. I think that is one thing I miss from Onyx. Fucking Fish, man. They just need to let him play Fish on Purple.
Agreed.
I'm soon, TM.
That would be awesome.
We have a rat that's pulling out a katana. Why can't we have Fish?
Yeah, for real.
Oh man. But yeah. So that's that happened. They finally got me. They got him. After having felonies for a year as a government employee, they finally decided, all right, it's time to let him go.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Get this guy out of here.
Yep. But
right,
that's
that.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
That's kind of a pick up and put down topic.
Yeah.
Okay, but real discussion topic. Actually, I'll say this for the end because that's gonna be a thick one.
Oh.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah. Just a couple good clips from this week. Did you see Jordan getting Hey Jordan?
Yeah, that was great.
That was pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Classic. That was a classic.
Classic
The
Hey Jordan.
The sigh was amazing.
Yeah.
And also for the listeners at home, a lot of these clips are available on Reddit on the RP Clips Purple. RP Clips Purple. I will try to include links to everything that we've talked about in the episode in the description somewhere. I'll find a way to do it. We're still learning, but I'll find a way to include it so anyone listening can also see where we're referencing, and any videos if you want to check out, they'll all be there linked for you. So
yeah, at some point we will have a video portion of this podcast, and we'll be able to show you. But for now, just check the links. Just check.
Yeah.
Do your own research. Wait, hold on.
Click them.
Okay, so you know what? Let's just get to it, dog. Radios, they're off, man.
Yeah?
They're gone.
They're out.
They're gone.
They're out for the normies. The government gets them.
Yeah.
Which is fine because that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. When I first heard that this was happening, I was hella against it. My first reaction whenever something is being taken away from RP is anger, violence, fight the power kind of thing. Because I don't like when things are taken away or tools for RP are taken away. That's when I have a problem. So that's my first reaction to it. When I first heard it, I was just like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's against the rules. No. But as time has gone on, I can understand and see why they were removed and the value in removing them, especially as someone who comes from Red M.
Like Red M.
Yeah, but like strict Red M. I want the viewers to understand it ain't homing
pigeons.
Carrier pigeons, and instant telegrams. Red M. No. True Red M. So I can understand. It does help slow down the RP, and 5M is notoriously fast paced.
Absolutely. No, and I mean, you came from Red M. I started in a public server, but then I went to a World's End, and there was nothing there but mail. Like, literally, you had to go find a mailbox to get any sort of message to anyone. Yeah. And there was no like alert that you have mail. You just had to keep constantly going and checking. And so it really slowed things down. Sometimes you got distracted and you didn't check mail for like, an hour or something. You go and you're like, your friends fucking mailed you like 45 minutes ago, like, help me, please, I'm dying. And you're like, oh shit, they're probably dead. So you got to go on like a hunt, and it like unlocks this whole new RP scenario, So it's like this idea of not being able to instantly get there. It adds, it extends the RP.
Yeah.
It really does slow things down, and it extends the RP. So, you won't be able to call your friends if you're getting robbed on the radio. You won't be able to be like, hey, help me, guys. You'll get robbed, and then you'll have to go, get your get back, and that extends the RP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched RP a long time, and my opinion on radios has changed over the years. But I think where I've finally settled on them is them removing them from purple inconsequential to me. I don't give a shit. I don't use them. Well, when we use them at the Atom, and we mostly just use it to fuck with each other or do bits.
Yeah, it's usually for a meme or just to like drive everyone on the radio station crazy.
Exactly. That's what like that. So, it's like lame to lose that because people don't know how to fucking behave themselves. But I'd rather lose that and not have to, and those people be either more likely to leave or less likely to do some fuck shit,
Yeah.
Than to keep it and just, be able to do a bit, it doesn't matter. I can figure out another bit. I find it incredibly cringe when a South Side gang is on radios. Personally. So to like even begin with the radios being on the servers, I find it that it should be more for things like fast food restaurants, more civilian type things. And then
Yeah.
when they are used in criminal activities, it's for things like heists or things like that.
Yeah.
Where they would need to be in contact. People hanging out on their block in the South Side, they don't need a fucking radio.
Yeah,
You
why
can
are-
yell
Yeah.
and hear each other.
Yeah.
I agree with every point you're making, actually. And that's actually one of the things that I was at first so against the removal of the radios. For me personally, one of the things I learned as someone who played Buffy, a crim, we kidnap people a lot in Acacia, like a lot. So it was very much like a checklist of items that you're grabbing, right? Like you're grabbing a phone, the walkie-talkie, radio, any weapons, and you're just scanning. Like when you're first grabbing someone, you're just grabbing phone, walkie, weapons, and then get in the car. So for me, when this was announced and people talking about like how they're abusing the walkies and calling out to their friends that they're being kidnapped or whatever, I could see it if it's like someone's like suddenly, you see a car and it's like slowing down. You're like, oh shit, something's going on, right?
Right.
That's where the problem is right there, is when the car is coming down the road and you're seeing it and then it stops in front of you and the people get out of the car in that amount of time
They can already call on the radio.
They can call on the radio and say, hey, something's going on. Or if they have a code word like Up and Adam does,
Yeah, Mountain Dew.
I didn't want to say it in case people in here are gonna
constantly.
All the time.
I just didn't want anyone metagaming our code word. But they're gonna have code words too. So they're gonna be on the radio, screaming Mountain Dew, and they're like, oh shit, where was Jace? Not that you would call that, but like where was this person? When they called this, where were they last? And so they're gonna swarm, and that's gonna be a problem. But it's interesting you talk about the civilian aspect, Winky, because I think the original suggestion thread was actually suggesting that the walkie-talkie should be taken away from civilians, but only given for cops and criminals. And then the discussion ballooned into criminals, didn't it?
I think it was originally just the terminology used is civilian radio, even though it is used for the criminals as well. And I think they just said that they wanted civilian radios taken away. I think they meant for both
for crim as well. That's my fault because I separate crims from civs. But crims,
as you should though.
I can see why people don't. But the thing is like, this is what bothers me about, I want to say like 5M and Red M RP, when people categorize the 3 different categories of law, crim, civ. A lot of times it's people see them as independent of each other, or a lot of times they'll see the crim like fall under the civ umbrella. But if it's gonna fall under like a civ umbrella, both of them should. Both the law and the crim should fall under the civilian umbrella, because I really don't think a character should only be cop RP 100% of the time, as an example, or crim RP 100% of the time. It's just, I don't think it's good. I want
mentally healthy.
Yeah. Well, I want a well-rounded character. In real life, a cop is gonna go home to their wife, husband, girlfriend, whatever, kids, life, pet, something. They're not gonna be living in the police department. Waking up, only as a cop, only to play as a cop. It also makes it kind of difficult for like RP situations as well. Like, it's so much more fun to get my get back as a crim when I find the cop off duty and do that. But
yeah, I do have. Oh, go ahead, Winky.
I was just gonna say I agree that I like it when role players who play a criminal or a cop do more than just be a criminal or a cop, you know.
Yeah.
Some of the best RPers that I've watched over the years that have played cop did do things also off duty. The problem is until very recently, until there's like this mass server spread out where Onyx and Purple came along, it was extremely difficult for most cops to do that because they had to have that cop prio in order to even get into the server because queues were so insane. So people branching out and playing and doing off-duty RP on cops is something that I've seen more and more people do recently because, you know, we're very fortunate that we don't need prio anymore to get in the server in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we're going to see evolve over the next year, a couple of years even, where more of these cop RPers do branch out and do these things. But as far as like criminal to civ RP, I like it when there is conflict between criminals and civilians because civilians should hate criminals. They shouldn't be friends.
Yes.
Now there's exceptions, of course, like there's criminal people in the world that exist that mesh with normal society, but they don't do crimes in broad daylight to the average population. So I do like that conflict to exist, and I hate it when all criminals and like there's like a known group of violent felons that are cool with all the civilians in the city. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There should be some conflict, and I honestly think wrapping this back to the radio conversation, I really think the removal of the radios is going to help so much with that as well.
Real quick before we wrap it back to radio, I need to say my 2 cents on the whole civ crim whatever thing. I really so I agree with most of those points, but I fucking hate when somebody who is not at all like it's not in their character to do crime just does crime. You know? Like that shit just irritates the shit out of me, and that was happening in Onyx at the beginning when you remember how we played criminal characters like Chop Block, Nico Block, Lobo. We would go around and we would spend hours breaking into cars, putting in that work just to get like a seed or two to maybe sell joints, and we only sold them to players. We didn't sell them to locals. We wanted to get that RP in. And everyone, it seemed like that was like, people were like, why are you doing that? That seems like so, like so much work for not much profit. And it's like, it's not about the profit, man. And so as soon as there was all of a sudden a buff put on selling, so locals were paying like a stupid amount for a single joint, suddenly you'd have literally just everyone at the Up and Atom who like people who I've never seen do a criminal thing in their life. They would literally, I saw this one guy and his name was like, I forget what his name was, like his character name was like Fletcher or some shit like that. He would lay in the bush behind Up and Atom and sell joints to locals while still on the clock. And he like was not a criminal character. He was 100% like, oh, I'm a civilian. But he, like, as soon as the buff came out, he was like, oh, this is good money. And he would just constantly do that shit.
But...
And, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, that,
it felt very out of character. It felt like he was just, like, doing it because it was profitable. Not because it was a funny thing in RP to do, or it was something his character would do. He just all of a sudden became a criminal overnight.
Yeah, that was the thing about Onyx. Early Onyx, though, is like there wasn't a whole lot of shit to do. So, like, just fucking around and selling joints to locals or just breaking into cars, even though you weren't a criminal character, was just it's because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, that sounds like an issue of a two-pronged issue. The one prong is that a lot of people who join RP servers don't actually know how to do that. Don't know actually how to be in character. They don't know how... I can't tell y'all how many times I'm in character, in the past at least. I would be in character and I'd be surrounded by people and they would be talking about stuff that was very clearly like out of character about them. Like they're talking about like their favorite movie, favorite snacks, favorite whatever. And I'm in character thinking, man, I love that stuff. That's some of my favorite stuff. And then as my character, what comes out of my mouth is, that stuff is hideous. You know? And they think that's real. They think that that is genuinely my opinion on that. Because they can't wrap their head around the fact that I'm playing a character who does not like that, even though I like it. And so, Chill, it's interesting that you bring that up because a lot of times that's just how it is. Like, they'll not appreciate what it's like to be either a civ or crim or have components of both in a character. To them, it's they really want the money, right? Like, money is really important. And it is a facilitator of RP. You both know that. I don't have to harp on that point to y'all. You know, you need money in order to have certain RP situations. You know, like if you want a gun or a knife, you have to have the money to to buy this, to do these things. So there is an importance to money, but I don't know why some people have this disconnect once they get in an RP server. They're just like, I just need to accumulate as much of this pixel money as possible. And the second prong to this issue is server based. A lot of servers do this for RP servers specifically. Is it's very hard to balance how much money a person can make to make it like realistic, but to the point where it has a good balance that allows you to make a decent amount of money, but allows you to go and roleplay. So that you're not spending all of your time grinding, right? But if you do have to grind, it's at least something that you can do with friends or with a group. You know, like how, you know, we would go, I don't know, panning for gold in Red M, for example, right? Like we could have a whole group of us standing there doing that. See, we were grinding, but we were doing it together, right?
Right.
Picking apart cars. I know that's a thing in some servers. You can go find some like old beat up cars and you can like pull things off of the cars and you can sell the parts or you can get materials for it. That's grinding, but you can go with like a group of friends and you can kind of like just kind of like joke about it, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
But again, it has to be a balance with the server. I don't want to
character for what your character
yeah,
would do.
exactly. Like you know, for example, I was playing on a Vampire the Masquerade inspired roleplay server, and one of the races of vampires, this particular clan, is very against ugly things. Like it sounds awful to say, but they really are. Like, they love beautiful things, they love art, they love just like passion and that sort of thing. And they just, if they see something ugly or gross or disgusting, it's like, it's world breaking for them. But I knew some of these vampires that they would go dumpster diving, and it wasn't any fault of theirs because they're good RPers, but the server made it so that that was one of the better ways to like make money, and all the other ways were like they were like really, really bad. So, you know, on the one hand, I agree with you, Chill, right? We want to stay in character to our characters as much as possible. But on the other hand, the server also has to make it facilitate it so that all other avenues are also as profitable in a way. I mean, it doesn't have to be as profitable, but it doesn't have to be so much of a difference that, you know, like one job is just scraping by, whereas the other job, they're just making money hand over fist.
That's how it is sometimes, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how it felt near the end with the Atom on Onyx, where we would get our paychecks and it'd be like, you know, decent or some shit, but then I would see like I'd just be like chilling in like Mexi's stream or something, and all of a sudden I'd see him pick up his paycheck and it was like $9,000 for a single day of work, and I'm like, God damn, dog.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had 10K on a character
Yeah.
on Onyx.
No, and
we were literally scraping by. No, yeah, but
it was so
gun was
bad.
$1,000, dog. Like, and
Yeah.
it rotted away in like
and then
a
it
week,
rotted
so
away, and so it's
yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
the things you bought, you'd have to replace. So it was a constant money sink. That server was constantly sinking money into it, and
With nothing to show for it.
but we were also in a server recently where like paychecks were just like skewed, like really really bad, to encourage more law characters,
Oh,
you know?
right.
And
Where they were
so,
getting,
like,
triple pay.
yeah, and so like there's this, I don't know, it really depends on the server and what they can achieve, but it's a thin line to walk, honestly.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just one of those things where there's always gonna be balancing issues,
Yeah.
especially with like economy stuff.
Yeah, and not
it's
just economy stuff now, because we're also looking at the radios now too.
Yeah.
It's a constant balancing act for everything in these servers, not just the economy, but you know what crims, for example, have access to. You know, what can crims do in a server? What are they allowed to do? You know, versus what can law enforcement do on that server. It's very much a rock, paper, scissors sort of aspect in a lot of ways, or a tug of war, I guess would probably be a better visual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you got to remix it like 50 different ways because of all the different conflicting styles of RP that may be on
True.
that server. Different interpretations of what may fly and what may not fly.
Yeah, because you have people on one end who are the serious RPers who we want it realistic. We want that doesn't make sense. How is that realistic, you know? And then you have on the other side of the spectrum, you've got people who are like, goofy, funny, let's back up into you know, gas pump. And they're both completely acceptable takes. Like there's no,
it's just all RP, man.
yeah,
Like,
there's no right or wrong way, as long as you are following, you know, metagaming rules, power gaming rules, you know, RDM, initiation, so on and so forth.
I just want Parkorn back, man.
Yeah, give us Parkour.
Bro, Parkorn was the shit.
But yeah, I am curious to see how the radios, if we'll continue to see them just off. So far, it seems like a positive thing. Every streamer I've seen has had positive things to say about it so far. I know I'm kind of happy about it, because as much as I enjoyed joining the Up and Atom radio station, it was absolute chaos, and I couldn't hear myself think most of the time.
Yeah, no, it's it gets a little intense sometimes.
Just a little.
I'm off the radio most of the time. So that's
yeah,
why
sometimes I forget to join, and I'm like, oh, oops, oh
I didn't even
well.
notice
Oops.
that they turned it off, and I was like, "Are you on radio?" And then I think it was you that was like, "Oh yeah, the radios are scrambled, or like there's something like wrong with the radios or something." And as Lobo, I'm like, "All right, I don't really care." Like,
yeah.
I mean, I would turn it on after my intro on stream. I would say hello to see who all was around, or if anyone was around. And then I would drive to the Atom, and as soon as people started talking on it, I'd turn it off.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I didn't even do that, dog. I would go for the I'm gonna just show up and see what happens technique. Like, 'cause I don't know, man. I
usually had a bit that I was throwing in there too, like when I would say hello. Like one time I woke up on Micah and there was just a guy sitting in my chair in my room.
Oh,
Just
Oh,
an NPC.
what the
that's
fuck?
great.
Yep. So I came over radio and said, "Guys, there's someone in my room. Help!
This is perfect
I don't
because
know him."
I would love us to switch gears into asking you a few questions about your RP experience, if you wouldn't mind.
Me?
Yeah, little old you. All right. So, WinkieSprinkles, are excited to ask you a few questions, get to know you a little more.
Wow.
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 Why don't
I
you,
just met this guy.
right? Why don't you go
Who the
ahead
hell
and
is
tell
he?
us a little bit about yourself and maybe some of your current characters that you're playing right now?
Okay. So I have been probably making content to some degree on the internet now for 12 years, actually, since
Oh, wow.
2013.
Holy shit.
In different ways. Some of them were under like old names and under different things. Like I'm credited on short film that my friend submitted to a film festival, stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
But I didn't get into streaming until like 2018, 2019. And I did a short, probably 6 to 8 month stint, mostly just doing like Digimon content.
I remember you telling me that that's like kind of how you like
okay.
started out with all that stuff.
Okay, this explains because you bring up Digimon a lot, and I didn't want to be like, where's all this? I just thought you were like super into Digimon. I didn't realize well, obviously you are, but I didn't realize there was more to it. That's so cool.
Yeah. Don't worry, man. Me too.
Yeah. I have a very special brain that likes monster collectors and like rosters and things
Okay.
like that. So Digimon, Pokemon, but even like fighting games like Mortal Kombat and Tekken, things like with big rosters, they really just scratch my brain. But for like Digimon has that combo factor of being something that I was really, really into when I was a kid.
Right. So the nostalgia is there too.
Yeah, so that's a big one for me. So I focused on Digimon games and Digimon content for like 6 to 8 months streaming, and I had a little bit of a community. I got to affiliate doing it. But I kind of fell out of love with what I was doing. Plus I had a kid on the way. So I dropped streaming for like 3 years. And then around that same time, I had just started watching RP too. So I took a break from streaming and continued to watch RP, mostly streamers on NoPixel like Penta and Chief and who was another big one that I watched a lot of time. I watch a lot of Burn too. People probably know him.
I fucking love Burn, man.
I love Burn. I was looking at my follows on Twitch, and he is one of the first accounts I followed, and the very first RP account that I followed on Twitch.
That's awesome.
Yes, I've loved his stuff for a long time. He played a character called Norm Yoder back in NoPixel 2.0, and I think that's when I found him. He just sounded like Plankton. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
Very easy to please early RP days. But you know, I always thought it was something that I wanted to do. I just never like it was so inaccessible back then. You had to, apply for you either had to play on public servers or try to pray and get whitelisted and then fight the queue to get on one of the bigger servers.
Right.
So I didn't really try to do that. I got onto one server. It was actually the precursor to the server we play on now. It was called Twitch RP back then.
Yeah.
I think I played on it a few times, but
people were theorizing that Twitch RP turned into Purple RP, but I don't think that
it did.
It did?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. That's actually where Chief got his start in RP was Twitch RP.
I see.
Or on GTA RP, I think. Or that's like where he grew his biggest audience was before NoPixel was on Twitch RP. That's where he made Fingal Dan.
Bro, what a classic fucking character.
Fingal Dan's great.
But
I showed her the Fingal Dan Cop series where he's
so good.
It's so fucking good, man. The cop arc is fucking golden. It's the one where Wrangler loses his legs to the panther, and then they just give Fingal a drink. He's like, "Oh yeah, sick," and then he starts puking.
It's so good, dude. There were so many good arrows in 3.0 for all of its flaws. There was some really crazy good shit that came out of it.
Yeah, man, it was pretty fun, man. It was a cool. It's what got me into RP, man. Like watching all that shit.
That was my inspiration. That's where I learned basically my style of RP.
Yeah,
my humor.
100%. The humor is 100% learned from like that era, because I've told you this before. I got into I found out what GTRP was from watching Kit Boga randomly play like Edna on No Pixel. But then after that, he ran into actually I think I watched like a Markiplier like Stan the Waterman and shit like that after that.
Yeah, classic,
absolute fucking classic.
Yeah.
But then he randomly ran into Penta. I think it was on Ricky. And I was like, I gotta check this shit out. And then I found out about Jimmy and all this shit. And bro, I don't know, man. That comedy cracked me up, dog. All the arcs with Jimmy and all that shit.
Yeah, Penta was. So he wasn't the first one. He wasn't the first one that I found, but he has been the one that I have stuck to watching.
Yeah.
The first one I actually watched. Crazy enough, the first RP streamer that I subscribed to, followed, and watched pretty regularly for a while was Coil, the owner of No Pixel. This was the middle of probably 2.0. I didn't know anything about him, didn't know anything about No Pixel, didn't know anything about GTRP really. But he interacted, or he was playing his trooper Soze, and he came across this bogan Australian dude with the trashiest Australian accent, leaned heavy into that shit, and it was Whippy playing Erwin Dundee. Yeah. And I love that character. I loved what he did. I've watched Whippy through most of 2.0 build the Bondi Boys and go through all of those arcs, and all the way up into I think it was right at the beginning of 3.0 I watched him do all of that. So like I was invested in those long story arc gang RP for a while, but it started to lose interest to me because it started to get real repetitive, and I started to see the cracks in the gang RP that was forming on No Pixel. And then one fateful day, I think the server got DDoSed or something.
Ooh.
It was after XQC had joined. I think it was his first ban, maybe. I'm not too sure.
Ooh, yeah,
They had a huge call with the bigger No Pixel streamers, and I heard Penta speaking, and he said some shit. I was like, holy shit, this dude. The only thing I'd heard about him from before was that there weren't a lot of people that liked him. I never looked into him, didn't look any further than that. Never thought about him, right? But when I don't remember exactly what he said, but I was like, well, this guy fucking gets it immediately. Like he knows what RP is supposed to be. It's supposed to be entertaining and fun.
Yeah. And playing a character.
Yeah, exactly.
Since that day, I followed him and watched him, and I think the first stream I ever watched him do was a Wrangler stream, and it was right after it was Punished Wrangler, the first Punished Wrangler arc, where he was in a wheelchair.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and then not too long after that, I caught the first Mike Block stream.
Nice.
And that's what got my wife into RP was Mike Block.
Oh,
no joke. Yeah, she loved it.
Bro, I watched this one clip. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, but go ahead. You go ahead, because
I was just gonna say of Mike Block where he he's on a BMX and tries to steal a car, and, and he's like, "Hey, bro, give me that car," and he's like, "All right, well, give me the bike." He's like, "No, this is my bike, dog," and then he just takes off on the bike. He's like, "Yeah, wait."
Yeah. So
wait a second.
Sorry, real quick. I was just gonna say, you mentioned your wife also got into RP.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's cool.
yeah. I had no idea.
She watched Penta with me for the longest time. She doesn't watch as much anymore. But yeah, her favorite character is Jimmy. Like
Oh, how
Jimmy
awesome.
is
Yeah.
yeah. Jimmy's her favorite. So whenever he plays Jimmy, she makes sure to watch that.
So
yeah, I think Jimmy was one that got me hooked because I saw this one clip of like him selling G Fuel to a cop and then the cop just doing it in the casino and like it's like the
Yeah.
other clip of the fucking guy who's like trying to run the sting. And he's like, did he
Yeah.
just take the cocaine?
Yeah, it was fucking yeah. I love that whole sequence of events. I think Alex was involved. He had just come back on Bob Smith trying to get like investigative work going. And
yeah.
it was a cop that had issues with drugs before that did that shit too. It was so fucking funny.
He just snorted the evidence.
He snorted it.
It's so fucking
that was
good, dog. Yeah.
so
Me too, you were saying something?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, so was it Penta that ended up getting you into RP then?
I wouldn't say he's the one that got me into it. That was definitely the coil whippy thing that
Right.
got me. Well, actually, Penta technically is the one that got me into it because at the time that the reason I even looked up GCRP streams to begin with was I saw an article, I think it was in Kotaku, and it included a clip. I think I just saw it on Twitter actually. A Penta clip from 2.0 where he's playing the character Ricky, and he was in a car being pulled over by the police. And the thing to know about Ricky, if you don't, is at the time he didn't have arms or legs. And the cop came up to the vehicle in the clip and told them to put their hands up, and his response was, "What the fuck did you say to me?" And then the cop realized he didn't have the arms and legs. So I had no idea what RP was at the time. To see that as a normie, you know,
Yeah.
that's what got me interested. So and I had no idea who Penta was. I didn't even realize that was him until I found his channel all those years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so technically Penta is the one that got me into RP.
Wow.
that's actually so sick.
Every huge milestone I've had with RP2 is also because of Penta. It's actually insane.
Yeah, no, man. It definitely I don't know. Especially during like COVID and shit like that, I got pretty into watching the streams and shit
Yeah.
like that. So it
Well,
definitely a huge inspiration.
Yeah. Would you say Penta is like maybe your biggest inspiration, or who would you say is your biggest inspiration for RP?
I would say I definitely learned a lot of my like choices and style in RP came from watching him. But I would definitely say the influence is kind of spread out again amongst a bunch of different streamers I watch, like Burn and Chief, Penta for sure.
Yeah, Chief is another one, man.
like Hobbit trash. Like when I can be mean on a character, it's because I channel my inner Hobbit trash. Like there's a lot of different, I think, inspirations, but I think definitely Penta is the biggest as far as like how to. I think his big strength is getting people involved that wouldn't normally be involved or included.
Yeah,
Right.
like for example, when they're like, "Hey, we got to get this, these drugs," it's like, "All right, let's get somebody to buy drugs for us. Let's hold them at gunpoint." Yeah.
But even as simple as like he'll even say himself, his favorite Mike Block days are the days where he just kind of fucking wings it and goes out there and interacts with the public, just with random people, whoever he comes across. And I feel like that speaks to his ability to just like bring people in, to collaborate, to involve people,
Be inclusive in RP, which is a huge part of it. Yeah,
because the more people you get involved, the more fucked it can get, and the more funny that can end up being, and
the more the formula changes.
Dramatic. And exactly. The more convoluted it gets, it becomes like a domino effect, and you just want to see where it ends.
Right. No, I think that is a perfect example of why it is very interesting to watch him, because he'll just pick up anyone. He'll literally just be like, "Hey," I mean, like that's how he got Chop involved. Yeah. That's how he got the Rager involved in all that shit, and he became Chop Block. Wow.
Yeah, really. That I'm here today because of him. Not only watching him, but also randomly running into him in the server. Like,
Yeah.
it came full circle, and I think it's kind of happening again with us on Purple becoming such a staple in the community as the Up and Atom. Being regarded for the RP that we're doing. It kind of feels like we're just like, I don't know, continuing the legacy and pushing things forward.
100%. Yeah, no, it's kind of trippy to think about that because, like you said, like you're here today because of it. Because I mean, if you didn't become, chop block through all that shit of randomly running into him, then you wouldn't have met, Nico, and then Nico wouldn't have introduced, Lobo to chop block, and like I just think it's crazy, man.
Yeah, for those of you
it's
out
insane.
there listening, some context. Chill plays Lobo, and
Yeah.
Winky plays Chop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Originally,
Yeah. Just so everybody is out there understands what's going on with that. And Nico is a friend of both of theirs, who is not in this call right now, who's not in this episode.
Yes.
But yeah, just so everybody out there is like, who the heck are these people that they're talking about? Just so you know, that's who they're talking about. But that actually does kind of like make me. Who was your first character, Winky?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah, your first RP character ever.
Ever, yeah.
Let's see. I think it was Chuck Butters.
Chuck Butters.
What?
Okay, I gotta know
that
this
name.
guy.
Yes,
Chuck?
please.
He was it was on the first public server I played on. I don't remember what it was called. He was supposed to be a former Air Force pilot, older, maybe late 50s, early 60s, blonde, mustache. And he was going to be he was going to seem normal, but there was going to be their one thing that was off about him, and he was my original conspiracy theorist character. He was going to be the one that talked about the Mole Men, but it wasn't going to come out that he's talking about Mole Men until months and months into the RP.
Yeah,
that he even believed in him. He was going to seem like a normal guy up until that point, which was pretty unrealistic for a public server,
especially in 5M.
Yeah,
but it's a cool concept. I like that slow burn idea.
Yeah, I eventually kind of rolled him into a couple of different characters, and then
reminds me of your the perma character that you had on Onyx, the conspiracy theorist guy about the moment.
That's where that came from. Yeah, because I wanted to use that. I loved it. I don't know, the funny just believing in Moleman under the ground is so stupid. I love it.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny.
So
I remember
good.
getting pulled over right behind us at the Up and Atom. Almost got shot in perma.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
this shit's so good, man.
You mentioned you're on Purple RP. We're also on Purple RP. Purple is that the main server you're on predominantly these days?
I think it's basically the only server I'm on.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah.
I don't see myself going back to Onyx, even if there's a crazy good update, unless something drastic happened. Everything that we've learned, whether or not it's 100% accurate, there's enough that I've learned that I know it. It's just not worth going back to. There's the problems are too big. They're not going to be able to fix it, I don't think. So I'm not interested in No Pixel. I'm not interested in Prodigy. So Purple is basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they love the Up and Atom on Purple.
They love us.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's great.
Well,
so it's been really nice
feeling that appreciation where we just get nothing for so long.
No, and not only nothing, shit taken away. Anything that we got through RP, they would just be like, no, you didn't. LLL.
Yeah.
They took away the
Well, with you being on Purple, why? I know we've kind of touched on talking about Micah a little bit. Would you like to tell the audience a little bit more about Micah and your other characters as well?
So yeah, so Purple, I think I've only brought 2 characters over that existed on Onyx, and that's I did make Hal, aka Chop Block, but he's not a block on this server. And then Micah, who is basically, I would say, my main character now. Micah, I made in 6 days will be 1 year.
Oh wow!
Or yeah, actually, in 5 days will be 1 year since I made him.
His birthday.
Wow.
But yeah, it's coming up. But his actually, yeah, I made his birthday 420.
Nice.
So his birthday aligns with when I made him. It's actually okay, so that works. But I made him because Chill had a character named Lilipi on Onyx.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
I was having issues with getting RP on Hal because I didn't want to get him a civilian job because he was not a civilian.
Yeah.
But Penta had stopped playing on Onyx at that point, so there was no mic.
Yeah.
And the blocks that were left at the time, there weren't many around, and then they kind of came back later on.
Yeah. No, that was definitely during like
They left
lull.
basically when Mike left. Yeah. I
Which
imagine.
is-
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Even when he was on Onyx, he mostly played Wrangler, and so like Nico and Chop were like the ones holding it down for a while. Like every now and then we'd see Rambo and shit like that, but
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I didn't. The only other block that Chop knew was Rambo block.
Yeah.
Because that was still around. The others had left. The hooker block was played by Moose Brother, Mac, who was played by McConnell. Like they didn't play the characters anymore.
Yeah.
So I was having an issue trying to figure out what to do. I was friends with all the people at the Up and Atom through mutual connections. I hung around the Up and Atom on Chop, like holding it down, trying to sell drugs, but
Yeah, you would sell drugs
the
and
time-
you'd be like security, quote unquote,
yeah, and it just didn't work. Like it didn't
Yeah.
work right. It didn't feel right. So
But
I was like,
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I remember you talking about when I made Little EP. You were talking about like making a like the Snow White thing,
yeah,
And-
the Seven Dwarves, yeah.
Yeah,
So it was like a stoner version of the Seven Doors in my mind, because I wanted to have a character that could hang around the Up and Atom. I didn't necessarily plan on him working there, just mostly kind of hanging around,
yeah.
with
But it'd be
Lily.
a way that you could hang out with the crew and like have like a reason for it, and it'd be
Yeah.
more in character than it would be for Chop.
Yes, and also like not have to worry about doing crime for money,
Yeah.
because there was very little crime at the time. So I made the character. In my mind, I set I'm trying to think of the word. I'm drawing a blank. Like I wasn't going to go straight to the Atom. There was going to be an RP reason that I eventually end up at the Atom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't just gonna meta the game and go straight there. So the original idea for Micah was he was living in his grandma's basement. Him and his parents lived with his grandma. His dad like died of some sort of asphyxiation, and had been dead for like weeks. And normally he orders DoorDash from Cluckenbell to his basement room while he plays Fortnite. But because his dad died, he didn't have any money or the credit card or whatever, whatever it was. I can't remember the exact. So he was forced to leave his house. So that was how Micah ended up in the world. He actually lived at, there was a house I had picked out near Mirror Park. It was one of the slummier looking ones.
Oh, nice.
And then as time went on, I created the lore about his parents being drug dealers and things like that. And that he ended up not being able to go back into that house that night because when he was gone, his grandmother took her car, chain locked the doors, and dipped and left the city. So that was kind of just had to explain how he came around and couldn't go anywhere else. He became homeless essentially.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he did that. He walked to Cluckenbell Clock and Bell at the time didn't actually know this at OOC was voted to be closed down, and it was closed. So it worked out even better for his RP because he loved the chicken tenders from Cluck and Bell. That it was closed down, so he was forced to try to find them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. He was hungry. And so that's how he ended up going to the Atom. And from there, like Peggy immediately took pity on him. And the funny thing is that the day before I actually played him too, it was like a day before I actually ended up going to the Atom on Micah. I actually ran into Penta on Wrangler with Micah on his first day in the city.
Oh.
I remember this clip.
Yeah, I was crossing the highway because someone in Mirror Park at a gas station, Micah was looking for his dad, who was turned into a blueberry and taken away in a big white box, right? And I kept going up to people and explaining to them in these terms about what had happened, and all of them, like, they figured out, oh, his dad's dead. But nobody would tell Micah that his dad was actually dead. He just thought originally that people respawned because he thought life was like a video game because that's the only frame of reference he had. So that was fun to make people like nervous for a second when I use the word respawn.
Yeah. That should crack me up.
That's so funny. And so you play Micah Little D on Purple still, and I love him. He's definitely one of my favorite characters.
I remember though that Wrangler was just so straight up with you, like, your dad's dead.
Yeah, it's so funny. I have that clip somewhere. Saved.
It's good.
It's really. But funny enough, Alice was watching that stream, and she told me that when she saw that character, she fell in love with him too. Like, oh, I need to take care of him, kind of. Or he's like a little goober. It was kind of just destined to happen.
That's so good, man. So, you mostly play Little D, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does he? So you already talked about the chicken tenders. Does he have any other like favorite foods, or like he'll kill somebody for a sprunk kind of a thing?
No, I've mostly leaned off of. So he's gone through a lot of changes since I first made him. His voice has changed. His
that always happens.
Yeah, it always happens. Yeah.
His like I keep going. At first I made him extremely, extremely dumb and naive, and it worked for a while, but eventually asking what something is all the time would get annoying for not only me, but probably I was thinking probably other people as well. So I have had to adjust his intelligence. I've had to adjust his naivety to the world and innocence and things like that. And some of it just came through RP. Most of it actually. But when I went through all those arcs on Onyx, the last big one was him doing the steroids.
Yeah.
That shit was so funny, man.
So I feel like I really hit the stride with the character through that arc.
It made him a little bit more assertive,
Made him more assertive, less of a push around, I feel like, character, and more of like someone who will do stupid shit when he's told to by certain people, but is also gonna stand up for himself when necessary, when it's funny enough and it makes sense,
Yeah.
So I took the best parts of that portion of the character, some of the early stuff, and the Purple Micah is basically all of Onyx Micah morphed into one cohesive character that I feel like is probably the most put together he's ever going to be.
Right. I think you've really hit the nail on the head with his character on Purple, and that he's very well balanced. He's got his witty remarks now because he's become witty over time.
And it's natural for characters to kind of like evolve like that over time.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Part of that is just like I think it's me too. Trying, like, I've gotten better at being quippy again and coming up with jokes on the spot again, just through RPing. It's just something to practice. You get better.
I feel like our time on Red M really helped a lot too. Just like,
immensely. I brought so many techniques that I developed and read them RP over to Micah and TB on Purple that it definitely made a world of difference.
Yeah, no, it really, it's so helpful when it just being able to do that.
Yeah, just having that experience and kind of bringing it over is huge.
It really is.
Speaking of experience, as a role player, you have probably been through some fair share of unpleasant situations as we have through the years, especially with your experience. You've been in RP for a while now. What would you say is your biggest RP pet peeve that isn't necessarily like a rule break? So anything that isn't like NVL, RDM, it could be like a completely different sort of pet peeve.
Well, I think earlier I mentioned when we were talking about radios, the gang, the Southside gang members using a radio. I think it makes me cringe, and I think that is just like it's part of a bigger issue, and it's like it's people treating. I know it is a game, but it's like treating GTA as a game instead of as a place to RP.
It feels like they're playing like a GTA Online Advanced.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of the people that do it, they don't even realize it because they don't think of RP in that way.
Yeah.
They genuinely think that they're RPing. They think that what they're doing is RP, and it's not a lot of the times. Like it is, but there are some things that they'll say or do that kind of is just like, well, I don't know if you know what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's something you see, of course, a lot in public servers, just because that's the type of environment that those are.
Yes, a lot more lenient for sure.
But I mean, I've seen behavior, honestly, not so much on Onyx, but I've seen it on Purple. Onyx did have like a strong player base, a lot of very good RPers. Yeah. There wasn't too many issues with like NVL or I would say unreasonable activity, like Southside activity. Like most people acted the way that they should or that they would in that scenario.
Yeah.
With Purple, I would say
for the most part, there were a couple bad
80%.
Yeah.
I would say 80% on Onyx and probably closer to 75 to 70% on Purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a higher percentage on
I will say, Purple. Yeah. I think it was definitely taken care of. It was much stricter, I think, on Onyx than on Purple. I think Purple is just so massive. They have so much. They have a huge player base, right? And I don't know off the top of my head how much staff they are working with, but I can't imagine they have a giant staff in proportion to the massive player base. Yeah. So I can imagine it's harder to police all of that. That's why tickets are so important. But I imagine they probably get bombarded with tickets all the time because there's also people, there's going to be tickets in there that deserve to be looked at, but there's always going to be those people who maybe an encounter didn't go the way they wanted. Maybe they feel like they're being wronged in some way, but it's all RP. Yeah. But for them, they're taking an OOC, so then they open a ticket. And then that's bogging it down, right? Like that's slowing down the staff to look at tickets for people who actually do NVL to these tickets that there is no proper initiation. They just run up to someone and shoot them. These are really important tickets that the staff has to get through. And so in a community this big, you're going to have these false reports of people being like, they'll open it.
Reports is just like, people
misunderstanding.
Or inappropriate. For example, like, this cop is treating me bad. I got caught. I'm being targeted. And I that happens. Ticket abuse happens, and I can't imagine how bad it must be on a server as massive as Purple. Like, I literally don't even want to. I've been on staff for RP servers, and the thought of like, huh?
Yeah, purple is big, and I know they get a lot of tickets. It's just the problem is, I think what they did, they had a very like open application period early on in the server, before the 1.0 launch.
Yeah, huge influx of new players. Hard to see everybody's
and
yeah.
And they were one of the first servers to one of the first big servers to take people without experience.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
or with experience from just being on public servers and not whitelist servers.
Which I like. I'm glad they're more open for that. It gives people a chance.
It gives people a chance, but the reason that there was an issue where there's like a culture where that is so that not, there's a difference between disliking, like for example, the radios being removed. There's a difference between disliking them being removed and saying something about it versus what a lot of people in the community seem to do, which is scream that things are unfair or that it's being like they're being mistreated, they're being oppressed. Like it's a weird mentality that some people have that exists in a lot of the threads that I see in the server.
Yeah, and this is not just a problem that only Purple experiences. This is it's like an entitlement, like role players who are entitled in a way.
It's definitely that, and it's definitely people that can't take L's.
Yes,
because especially as a fucking crim, like it's mostly taking L's, and I'm gonna be honest, L's are funnier than W's every goddamn day.
Yeah, if you can't
L's
take the L as a crim, you probably should not be a crim. Because that's going to be the backbone of your experience is the L's. Like there's going to be W's, of course.
But that's what makes a W so sweet. Is all the L's you take.
Yeah, exactly.
There's zero criminals in the world that are completely scot-free on everything. Like I'm exception to the rule, sure. But like I'm talking about like the type of criminal you see in GTA RP. Like they take L's mostly in life.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's the experience. So
and going back to what we were saying, like 2 minutes ago, they can take L's, and then they will reach out to admins about like they're targeting me, and that floods the system of just tickets and tickets and tickets. And I mean, it fed the wall earlier this week, where it's just like people will crash out against the admins for seemingly no reason. It just they can't take a fucking L.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's just like it's the world hates me.
Yeah.
But fuck everything. They crash out.
It's blown out of proportion so quickly for no reason.
100%. They act like it's the end of the world when it's like, bro, it's pixels, dog.
Yeah,
it's all just pixels.
Dog.
Yeah. But I like that pet peeve, Winky. Thank you for sharing. Chill. Did you want to ask?
Yeah. So real quick, what would you say is like the little D catchphrase? Do you have like the like just something you always say that like gets people fucking rolling?
I don't think so. I've never been like a catchphrase person.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I get that, dog. Like that's just relatable.
I just kind of say whatever whatever comes to my head in the moment.
Yeah,
you really do like kind of have no filter on little D, like with the fucking.
He quips. He has the quips.
When Dylan was talking about fascism, and you were like, "Yeah, Blake's a fat piece of shit," or "Blake's a fat shit." Maybe you should ask him.
That's the beauty. Yeah, that's the beauty of Micah's mind. Is he's so I get to do things with phrases and words because he's so stupid. Like he wouldn't know the context of what is being said when it comes to like more complicated topics like fascism. So of course he's gonna think he misunderstood and said fat shit.
Like,
yeah. And then he recently heard Blake say that he's a fat piece of shit. So like it connects. That's the way Micah's mind is like taking two pieces of information and linking it together and making it work, like duct taping it together, So that's basically what it is with him. I think I wouldn't say it's like a catchphrase, but one bit I constantly am able to do with him is when someone says like a phrase or word and it can kind of sound like they're sneezing, he'll just say Gesundheit.
That's pretty fucking
He'll
good.
say what?
Gesundheit. It's German for bless.
Yeah,
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had if he had changed it to a different thing.
Like Gesundheit.
Gesundheit, yeah.
No, there are random like phrases, words, or ideas that he just knows. That word in particular, because his grandmother used it all the time. Cars. He loves fucking cars and knows everything about cars. And it's because when he was growing up, one of the things that his dad always just had on the TV on the weekend was like that horsepower TV. I don't know if you guys know about that. That was like a Spike TV on the weekends. It was all horsepower TV. It was all about cars and muscle cars and things like that. So that's what he grew up watching on the weekends.
So that's why he's obsessed with cars.
That's why he's obsessed with cars and knows everything. Well, he knows everything about them. I just kind of make it up as I go.
As you should. Okay, so what out of all the moments, out of all the clips, out of all the RP scenarios, what would you say is your most memorable?
Yeah, your favorite most memorable. Just to kind of, I think, to tie up this segment of the podcast.
God, it's hard to say. But I think if I had to, the one that's sticking out in my head was my first clip that got like a large amount of views, and it was Micah's first race.
I know what you're talking about.
Wait, I didn't even know Micah ever did a race.
It wasn't a real race. It was when he first got his little habanero on Onyx. Yeah. Scott challenged him to like a fun little race to the DMV. So it was him, Scott, and I think Tammy.
It was Tammy, yeah.
Because
she was racing in the van.
Yeah, Veronica was obsessed with Mike at the time because she realized before anyone else the power of his stupid little brain.
Yes, as Veronica does.
Yes. So she was in the car with me, and like I'm like half paying attention. Yanni's in my chat. I was saying hi, and I take a turn, and I'm not paying attention. In the middle of the road, going down the hill, is a tree. I slam the side, or I like barely, like not barely. I like clip the tree with the driver's side of the vehicle, but Veronica's not wearing a seatbelt, so she gets thrown from the car. And then when the car rolls down the hill, and I'm laughing, I'm dying. And as Tammy's trying to get Veronica out of the road, a local car comes up, fucking glitches, and throws her thousands of feet in the air. The car itself gets thrown in another direction. Like it was the first time that sort of chaos happened, and it was his first time doing the thing that I was going to be doing with him that he loved. So it was so poetic.
That's so good.
The line that Veronica says, like before that, like I'm gonna suck that.
No, like my socks are drenched.
That's so crazy.
It's so good.
Shout out to Clerics for being just
Clerics
having the
great.
Craziest one-liners.
Yeah,
Cleric has made me break on multiple occasions, dog. They're so funny.
Yeah, I love how Clerics plays Veronica. Very big fan.
It's so perfect.
Yeah. Well, that will tie up our interview section. Winky, thank you for answering our questions and letting us get to know you a little better. I found out so much more about you today, and I'm so grateful to have you. So thank you.
I appreciate you guys. It's fun being able to talk about yourself, especially when you love RP. I think that's just part of it. Is you loving to talk about the things you do.
Yeah, and it's fun to talk to people about RP who also enjoy RP, because It's
Yeah,
not so
yeah.
fun talking to people about RP when they, one, don't know what it is, or two, don't get it. So
yeah, I'm just my character, he's kind of simple-minded. He's got this brother that he's currently fucking.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
yeah, he dresses up like his dead ex-wife.
And on that
it-
note, I think this is a good time to switch gears into our activity for the episode. So, we let Winky know that the objective this week was weird, like, snacks, but like from big name companies. A lot of big name companies lately are pushing out some really unique products, trying out new markets, seeing what they can do with their name brands. Name brands such as Reese's. Reese's has been branching out into some very interesting different directions, namely with their peanut butter cups. They've come out with some new filled peanut butter cups, which we each three have different peanut butter cups to try.
Absolutely brimming with filling.
Yeah, but also, fun fact, Chill and I found these as well. We found a container of Reese's, but they were pretzel-filled peanut butter, or like peanut butter-filled pretzels, the like pillow pretzel things. So they're trying out new things. They're going the distance.
I'm gonna be honest though, those pretzels were mid as
They were not very good,
dog.
so that's why they will not be on this episode. But it's just to illustrate that these name brands are branching out into other avenues. We've also seen Kellogg's, for example, recently started introducing their own ice cream line. I don't know if you guys, I know you've seen it, Chill. I don't know about you, Winky.
Eggo shit.
Yeah.
I have seen
Yeah,
that.
there's like a new ice cream line for like Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Corn Pops.
Everyone's branching out.
Yeah, so we have a few of the Reese's peanut butter cups. Chill and I they're doing a PB&J big cup.
Yeah, we got grape and strawberry.
Right.
So we can try each one of those. And then Winky, I think you said you had the caramel one, yeah?
Yeah, I got the caramel big cup because the peanut butter and jelly ones don't exist where I live.
Aw.
Okay, real quick.
Yes.
Is it caramel or caramel? I'll fight somebody over this.
Not us starting
Caramel.
this. And then to wash it down with, we all three found Dr. Pepper released a blackberry flavor recently, and we all three have bottles of it. This is very symbolic for us, because the three of us have played on Red M together with a group, and the Brawlers, their color was purple, but their like official fruit was the blackberry. So this is very
fruit, yeah.
This is very iconic.
Hell
We've been
yeah.
noticing a lot of blackberry flavored items hitting the market recently.
Actually, it's been kind of like popping off with
Yeah.
blackberry stuff. Like I saw Starbucks has some like blackberry thing, and their
they
Dr.
have-
Pepper's doing blackberry. I forget what other stuff I'd seen.
There's
Yeah,
a
Mountain
couple
Dew.
things that,
Mountain Dew is
Yeah, but-
introducing one
Yeah.
soon. It's the Midnight Baja or something like that, and it has blackberry.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we found Crown Royal Blackberry. That's a thing. So a lot of brands are branching out into the blackberry flavor profile. I don't know why. I guess the Brawlers making an impact. I don't know. Trendsetters. So while we're trying these, I also found a tier maker for candy.
Ooh.
So I was thinking maybe the three of us individually could work on our candy tier lists while we eat and sip and chat. And then when we're done with our candy tier lists, we can talk about our candy tier list. But, while we're doing it, we can talk about the Reese's peanut butter cups and the Dr. Pepper. I really hope this Dr. Pepper tastes good. Please don't do me wrong, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
I love
got a whole
you.
ass 12-pack of it, so it better
It better be good.
That's all I can find.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
start.
crack that shit open, dog.
Yeah. And then
Winky, did you have anything to say about the blackberry stuff?
Yeah, the blackberry stuff. There's actually there's a wine that we bought for years
Ooh.
now. That's a blackberry wine. This is like a cheap one from Walmart. That one will sneak up on you. That shit is you'll drink like 3 glasses and like you won't even taste the alcohol.
oh wow, that's
And
dangerous.
You'll be fucked up.
I opened my Dr. Pepper. And are you? I'm gonna try it. Are you guys gonna try it with me?
Yeah, we can try it.
Okay.
On this tier list, though, by the way, I think we should just do one for each tier, just to keep it simple.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Okay, I'm gonna try this Dr. Pepper now.
It kind of just tastes like Dr. Pepper, dog. I'm gonna keep it a bug with you.
Oh no, this tastes amazing. What are you talking about? This is like
To me,
those
this is like enhanced Dr. Pepper. This is like Super
it's just a little
Saiyan
sweeter.
Dr. Pepper.
Super Saiyan Dr. Pepper. You know those have you seen those sparkling ice drinks?
Yes.
I have seen them, yes.
Yeah.
This smells like the blackberry one of those.
Ooh.
Maybe it's because I don't have a sense of smell that I'm not getting the full blackberry experience. I'm just kind of like,
Ooh.
Because
It
I
kinda
don't
just-
taste it really, but I like the smell with it. I get it.
well, I say it's pretty good though, dog.
No, I
I'm
like
gonna
it.
Be honest.
It's definitely like you're saying, it's a subtle. It's very subtle. Like to the point where it chills, like there's no difference. There is no difference.
It tastes pretty basic.
But
yeah.
I listen, I grew up drinking Dr. Pepper basically my whole life. Like that was in my household. That's what my grandma drank. Like my grandma to this day, she has a Dr. Pepper every day. Every day she gets a little can of Dr. Pepper now. She does the little cans, the little mini cans.
Yep.
She does one every single day. So I know what Dr. Pepper tastes like is what I'm trying to tell our audience. It tastes like Dr. Pepper, but it has like it's a very subtle, like you can taste the blackberries, very subtle towards the back of the flavor. And like I can taste it more now that I'm like letting it simmer upon the tongue.
When the Dr. Pepper hits the back of your throat.
Huh?
Goddamn.
Ooh.
God damn.
Goddamn, dog. By the way, I'm switching up 2 per tier. 2.
No, I think we should just do the whole thing. Just do the
I'm
whole
doing it.
thing.
Just do it
Just
the
do
whole
it.
thing.
Do the
Oh,
whole thing.
God.
Don't be
This is gonna take
be
so
no
long.
bee.
Well, I'm gonna do the ones I know
Yeah.
because some of these
Yeah.
it's not clear where I haven't had.
True. Bro, they have candy cigarettes on here? What the fuck? Finally, I can act like I'm smoking, but I'm not.
That's. I used to do the chocolate cigarettes as a kid.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. As a kid, the candy cigarettes actually were hilarious because you could like blow out the powder.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. You were like a little baddie on the playground.
I'm gonna take the shade back. My bad, though.
Now you see. Yeah, this Dr. Pepper is actually good. I'm glad that we got a huge old pack of them. I will eat
Yeah.
those.
You're gonna eat them? What the fuck?
I will eat
Can and
them.
all?
I'm sorry. I got a little distracted because I found I was clicking on the blow pops. So I was like, I'd totally eat these, And so, my brain.
I'm gonna eat the shit out of them
I'm
cans.
gonna eat the shit out of this. All right. I think we're pretty much done ranking our candy. But before we talk about what is on our list, why don't we go ahead and try one of these Reese's cups.
Okay.
Winky, you have the caramel one.
Do it, man. I've already had those, bruh. I'm actually curious to hear what you think of them because I'll reserve my my thoughts.
Chill, are you going to have the strawberry or grape one first?
I don't know. Let's let Winky have his caramel.
All
and
right.
Talk about that
Yeah,
real
yeah.
quick.
Let's see what you think
Caramel, not caramel.
All right.
of it. You can call it caramel. I'll call it caramel. Thank you very
Caramel.
much.
I looked it up and you guys are right, but I'm just stubborn.
All right, so I definitely got it from a gas station because it kind of tastes like tobacco.
Oh God,
Sick.
no!
Hey, it's just smoked. Yeah.
It's smoked.
Smoked. No.
Well, okay, so I have to be honest. You'll
Yep.
see when I put my thing up. I just think Reese's Cups are okay to begin with. Not my favorite.
Oh, I see.
Caramel
Yeah.
doesn't really add anything to it.
Bruh. All right, we might have some fighting words, dog. Because I'm gonna be honest, Reese's that's an S tier candy, dog, and like with the caramel, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that shit is just life changing, man. Like it's so good. I literally brought them to VT, and she's like, "You can't keep these in the house."
So
Yeah, it's a forbidden food. There's a few on that list, and that's one of them.
You're kind of mid about the Reese's, yeah?
Yeah, this one I would say I like it less than a regular Reese's.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So the caramel didn't help for you. It made it
normally,
worse.
Like I like caramel I like caramelized coffee and stuff like that. So yeah, normally it's a plus. In this case, it's a negative.
Yeah. I see on your chart here that you shared that you you just rated it as okay. It's just mid.
Mm-hmm.
It's mid for you, no. Where did you put Reese's Chill on your tier list?
S.
At the
S
top.
tier.
Yeah. I put mine at the top as well.
I do like that you did change up the I didn't even notice we could do that. Just ass.
Yeah, no, I changed mine as well. Here, I'll show you mine. And for our listeners, I will also share these. So you can always check them out as well. Hold on, let me go ahead and copy mine. There. And there's mine. So Winky, why don't you tell us what your top row looks like? Tell our audience what that looks like for you.
I'm not huge on chocolate. So my top row, and this is in no particular order, is things like Sour Patch Kids, both the regular and the watermelon, but my favorite Sour Patch Kid is the blue one, blue raspberry. I like Gushers. I like Warheads. We got Lemon Heads. I like sour stuff more than sweet stuff. The ring pops, but usually just like the sour ones, but I haven't had like a ring pop since I was a kid.
Yeah.
The gummy lifesavers. I like the gummy lifesavers. I don't like the hard candy ones.
Yeah.
And then my god tier candy bar is a Heath bar.
It's fucking good, man. That's definitely on. It's up there for me as well.
That is the one for like if you go to like Sonic and get a blast, that's the one to get.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Chill.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and have one of your PB&J cups?
Ooh, yeah.
And then when you're done, tell us what you think of it.
All right, I'm having the grape.
Grape jam.
Yeah. Oh, it's purple. Oh my god, like the brawlers. Wow.
Wow.
It's got to be that like goober grape, like you know the Goober brand peanut butter jelly combo thing.
It's got to be right.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's just all right.
It didn't change my life or anything.
Aww.
I think the caramel one's better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this
How
is
are
probably
you on grape jelly normally.
Yeah, actually, good question.
I'm here or there. I will say if I get Uncrustable, it's usually grape jelly.
Okay.
I do like grape jelly as well.
Yeah. I was like addicted to grape soda as a kid. I fucking love that shit.
I fucking can tear up some grape soda, dog.
Dog.
That's interesting then that you're not just you're not here nor there about the grape jelly.
I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't have enough. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
you could use more.
Yeah, it could use more. 100% of that.
Okay, all right. So definitely not a buy again, unless they like add more jelly.
Yeah, that's it. I'm putting a petition out.
Just like put it up. Jelly. We're holding up the signs. We're gonna hold up the sign. More jam. Give us more jam.
Yeah,
that's great. What? Okay, so why don't you tell us and the audience what your top row looks like?
All right. Here, let me just send it.
Yeah, that's crazy that you're a huge fan of the grape jelly Uncrustables.
Well, listen, I'm saying it needs more, dog. All I'm saying is like, bro,
You want more.
PB&J
Yeah.
Reese's, like that shit should like with the caramel. I feel like that shit was busting out. You know.
Yeah, true.
All right.
Oh.
I probably want to do more work on this one, but you know, for now, this is what we got.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, okay.
So yeah, Reese's God tier. Reese's gummy bears, Twix, and mini M&Ms, bruh, so good.
Is it specifically mini M&Ms?
Those look like mini M&Ms to me, dog.
I think they were just supposed to be regular M&Ms, but if it...
Ooh. All right, well, I'm putting the caveat that if those were mini M&Ms, that'd be God tier. Regular M&Ms, they'd be in good.
Yeah, like mid.
Yeah, mid
okay.
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yes.
You were a lot more picky about your S tier.
Listen, all right. I'm.
No, it's
Listen.
fine. It's just it's just you got very picky taste, and there's nothing wrong.
You have 2 more than me.
I was gonna be like, man, he has pickier taste. That's good. He knows what he likes, and that's why he's dating me and everything. But
wow.
I don't know.
Lobbed.
L.
The Twix, though, I agreed.
Yeah, Twix 100% agreed. And honestly, I feel like I should put Jawbreakers up more because like they kind of slap, and they're like one of those ones that like people are like, I fucking hate those candies, but those are fucking great, man. That was like some childhood nostalgia. But yeah, I think I want to fuck around with this list a little bit more, but I'm on the spot now. So
but this is what it is. This is what we got. This is what we got.
Yeah, second row, Snickers, because delicious. Like, you know, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Reese's Pieces, because it's like, I mean, I don't know, man. They're once again just classic. I got a lot of classics on like the second row. So like Reese's, Milky Way, Three Musketeers. And then Sour Patch, like the regular and the watermelon. I'll put them down here because like I'm more of a fan of like the classic like gummy, but Sour Patch they hit. You know, they're pretty good. Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of like sour candies and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, definitely high up on the list. But then yeah, Kit Kat and Heath for to finish that row out. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I have a little thing about Sour Patch Kids where they kind of stand with me.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, a friend of mine, he was a year older, brought one of the family size bags into our art class. We ate the whole bag sitting there together until our tongues bled.
Bro,
oh my god!
Literally, you'd get like chemical burns from sour candy.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great.
Ourselves and did not regret it.
That's me eating lemon drops. Honestly, like I eat so many that my mouth starts to burn from how acidic it is. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. We actually shared a similar story about the fucking Jawbreakers.
Yeah, I'm getting to that actually.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
It's actually a perfect transition point. So now I can try my Reese's peanut butter and jelly strawberry. I'm trying the strawberry one. Oh wow, you when you cut these in half, you cut it with the paper too. That's great.
That's right.
That's great. I was like, whoa. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's so little.
Layer. Yeah.
It's so little. It's like this very, like you said, like a very thin layer. It's not. I was expecting like 1/4 at least. But this is like 1/8. This is like a little like they smeared it on, but they didn't respect the smear.
They did not no respect.
No respect. Okay, I'm gonna take a bite. Yes.
Yeah, they really did. I
also, I'm not supposed to technically be eating this because it's got milk in it, but don't tell my body. Maybe it won't know.
Ooh.
It'll be okay. It's just one bite.
Okay, thoughts.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It tastes like a Reese's cup, dog, so it's not bad. It's just like
it does taste like a Reese's cup, but it does have like this, like, because of the jelly, it does kind of give me like Uncrustables vibe, right? but it's
God.
chocolate. So it's
Yeah.
not like the dough, like in an Uncrustable. It's just chocolate, not dough. I don't know.
Brave.
It's not. I'm sorry. I know it's not very like you said. It's not
Are you
life
telling me
changing.
Reese's or chocolate? What the fuck?
It's not life changing, but it's not bad. Like if someone were to get this for me as like a little gift, like, oh, I saw this, I thought this was interesting, and thought you might want to try it. You know, it wouldn't be bad. It's not like horrible or anything. Like it tastes good. I just don't think I would get it regularly. It's not going to be something that I see at the grocery store and I'm going to be like, oh, I love that so much. I want to get a whole box of those. It's literally, we bought it for the novelty and we bought it, we tried it, and that's it. You know, that's pretty much what it's probably going to be for us. The caramel for us, it's good. It's a banned food. That's how good it is.
Yeah, no, it's literally banned in the house. God damn it, I'd still buy them. I bought
But yeah, these are... You're not missing out, Winky. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Good.
Pretty mid.
I'm
Yeah,
glad.
a little mid, but...
yeah, and you don't even like chocolate anyway, so yeah, you ain't missing out at all, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
So
huge.
I'm going to talk about my top row.
Yeah.
Reese's is on there. I love Reese's cups. Really, really good. I literally remember trying Reese's cups for the first time, and I was just like blown away because it was like a Halloween. It was in my Halloween stash, and I never had it before. I was like, "What is this?" And my mom was like, "Try it. You might like it," you know. And I opened that thing up, and I tried it, and I was like, "What? What?" All these other candies have to compete with this. Like what? And I loved Reese's. And also what was not on this list that I also really like that I would put on the top up here is Butterfingers. Butterfingers are really yummy. I really like Butterfingers. And so for me, I would put them up there as well. But this candy tier list doesn't have them. I know, sad, but
Butterfingers are an absolute classic.
they're really good. So I would put them up there as well, but
yep, same.
They're not
actually.
They're not on this list. So as far as like chocolates go, for me, my top chocolates are Reese's, Twix, and Butterfingers. And then all the other chocolates pretty much are the next level. Like everyone else is just underneath.
Like Butterfinger, they also don't have my favorite that was actually missing from this list too.
What is it?
The Zero Bar.
I've never even heard of that.
I know what you're talking about, dog. The fucking taffy shit. Or is it white chocolate?
No, it's peanut. Hold on.
I've never heard of this.
It's a combination
I've seen
of
that
caramel, peanut, and almond nougat covered with a layer of white fudge.
What is it called?
It's white chocolate. Yeah, the
Zero
white fudge
bar.
shit. Yeah.
Zemo?
Zero.
Oh, Zero. I've never. I swear to you, I've never heard of this. I've never seen this before. That's crazy.
I've definitely seen them. Yeah.
All right.
Until I was in high school, I thought it was some old people like diet candy, like for diabetics, or
right?
whatever.
Yeah.
And then I tried it in high school, and it's bar none one of the best.
That's kind of how I feel about like the Heath bars. They look like they're for old people, like, but then you try them, and you're like, ooh,
exactly.
I'm an old people. I'm an old people now. I'll take them.
I relate to this so much, Winky, because my hands down favorite is also not on this list, which is kind of like a Butterfinger, but it's more like peanut buttery Fifth Avenue bars.
Oh yeah, Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, and that is 100% like an older candy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like Zero is, and it just, I don't know, man, something about it. It's just literally a Butterfinger, but more like peanut butter forward, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's so good.
Just to finish off my top tier candies, I got Warheads, classic. I love them. I remember literally trying them and just suffering. It was like the first candy I'd ever had that made me like experience pain. And like And I wanted more. I don't know, like I was like, wow, that was really painful, like tears in my eyes, right? Like I was like, wow, God, I don't think I'll ever eat one of those again. And I like sat there for a minute, and it unlocked something in me, y'all. Like I don't know, I literally couldn't help myself. I had to keep eating more. So yeah, warheads, I have a interesting relationship with them, but that's how I found out I was like a really big fan of like sour things. So lemon heads are big. I love lemon candies. I love lemon flavored things. So lemon heads are just so good. Fun dip. I have fond memories of fun dip. Just the funny thing is I never got fun dip from like my family. I always had to like illegally trade items on the playground.
No, 100%.
To get fun dip. So it's like I have this like association with fun dip that it's like this unattainable drug. So like it's not even like I've had fun dip right since then, and it's not like the best candy in the world. The novelty of it is pretty cool. You know, you get the stick, you wet the stick, you put it in the powder, and you eat the powder off the candy stick, right? Like that's fun dip. Mm-hmm. I love that concept. I think it's cool. And you know, you get the blue one, your hands turn blue, your mouth turns blue, whatever. But yeah, no, I think I just have this like association from childhood that fun dip is equal to high quality. Same with ring pops, because those would go for like a lot on the playground. Like I literally sound so weird talking like a druggie, but yeah, like
what the hell?
But like you would trade items on the playground. At least we did at my elementary school, and I think that
was a common practice,
right? Like, and some items were considered higher value than others. Ring pops were like top tier at my school.
It was basically just prison.
Yeah, bubble tape was up there. Gushers was also up there, like the little packets that you put in your lunchbox. People would trade those. Oh man! But anyway, fun dip was a big one, and yeah, chill. I had to put the Jawbreaker up there. I'm surprised you didn't put Jawbreakers up top, but I can understand why.
Well,
it's not. They're basic bitchy. They're basic bitch candies. So.
But they're good, you know what I'm saying? Like they're good, and I have fond memories of them.
Of course,
I put them, you know, in the middle.
Yeah,
it's not something I'm like. I don't go to the store and I'm like, I gotta get a fucking Jawbreaker.
I get them when I go to like Six Flags, because it's Six Flags. They always have the candy shop with all like just every like rock candy, Jawbreakers, just all the sorts of candies you could ever imagine. Almost every Six Flags has a candy shop, and I almost always would get it from Six Flags. But Winky, the thing that makes this even better is Chill and I actually bonded over a similar story we had growing up regarding Jawbreakers.
Yeah, where like you would get
we both
like those
had this
giant ones.
Yeah, we both in our childhoods, independently of each other, got Jawbreakers. And I'll speak from my experience, but it's pretty much the same experience you had, Chill. Like, yeah, no, literally I saving the Jawbreaker.
I brought this up, and you're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, and yeah. But like literally buying the Jawbreaker, saving it on your desk or wherever, and just like licking it over time, just like absentmindedly like having it there, and like doing it so often over a span of several days that you end up like
murdering your tongue.
Yeah, basically. Licking your tongue raw from the sugar. We and both also, did that.
Fucking sandpaper, dog. Yeah, like
no,
the more you it becomes like candy sandpaper. Yeah, it's like, why am I eating this?
Yeah, I just remember like I was licking this Jawbreaker. I was just absentmindedly on my computer. I was very young at the time. Like I said, this was on the back of a Six Flags trip. Just chilling there, licking the Jawbreaker, watching something. And then I lick, and I look down, and there's like a streak of blood. And I'm like, uh-oh. That's not good.
Yeah.
And so
that's not the second layer. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh. Okay.
Oh God.
And it's so bad because at that point I'm like, okay, I know I have to stop now, right?
But you still want the flavor.
Yeah, you still want the flavor. So I
You
put
want-
it down. And like a few minutes later, I'd absentmindedly pick it back up again. Ow.
That's why they're low on the tier list, because they're borderline masochistic.
But that's why they're up on my tier list, you see. They're right next to the warheads.
Yep, same with those Sour Patch Kids. It's a masochist candy.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Chill, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm just excited for more episodes, man. It's gonna be kind of fun. I guess.
I'm very excited.
Kind of fun.
Winky, thank you so much for joining us today on our first official episode. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be number one.
Aww.
Wow. He was number one.
He was number
number
one.
one.
So before we let you go, are there any current projects or plans or events that you have coming up? And where can people find you?
So currently, I got nothing big planned. Just doing, well, I mean, RP is big right now. So find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/WinkieSprinkles. One day that will just be Winky, hopefully. But just doing RP right now. No big projects on the horizon at the moment. We're just trying to see about taking over Purple RP's government.
Ooh.
Yeah, bro.
There we go. Well, thank you again, Winky, and again, we really appreciate you joining us. So thank you. To our audience, thank you so much for watching the VC with me, VampireToy, as one of your hosts, and
Chill. What's good?
The other host as well. We got two of us. I'm very excited. We're gonna be back again next week with some more guests, some more fun stuff, more news. So hopefully we see you again then. And until then, thanks so much for watching and listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.